Good morning, gang. Good afternoon, good evening, or good night, depending on where you are in the world. Welcome back to this week's altcoin update. First and foremost, remember, nothing discussed today is financial advice, just for educational purposes only, and it's my view of the markets. Now we've got that out of the way, before we get into today's analysis, which is going to be covering ETH, FET and INJ, first and foremost, big shout out to Prime XBT for partnering with today's video. If you don't know who Prime XBT are, they are a platform where you can not only trade crypto, but you can also trade FX, commodities, and stock indices. And if you check out our link down in the description, you can claim up to a $7,000 deposit bonus. Now, the beauty of these guys is they are a non-KYC exchange. And you can also, when trading FX, commodities, or stock indices, you can use crypto as collateral. So you can use USDT or you can use Bitcoin. So if you do want to check them out, check out the link down in the description. Now, ETH, let's start with this. So right now we're looking at a blank chart. Let's bring back some of the old TA that we were looking at, I think 2 weeks ago now, I believe. And we've had, finally, that move up to 3K, but we're talking about. So obviously, on the last altcoin video that we did, we were covering ETH. Again, this is no hindsight bullshit. I'm not going to say that this was the direction it was definitely going, because I'm a trader first and foremost. Price can move up, price can move down. We gave various different scenarios, and one of the scenarios, here we are now. Okay, so this is something that we were talking about in the group quite a while back. In fact, back when price action was here, roughly around the 22nd of January, we were talking about this on one of our daily update streams. As you can see here, that I was looking for price to move back down into this zone. We had a lot of strong confluence in this zone. And then if we were going to see a bounce and then alternatively see strength on the ETH BTC chart, again, I've alluded to this many times, then we can see that push up to the high, which first and foremost would be targeting these overall highs. And if we continued with the uptrend, which bear in mind, we are still in an uptrend, creating higher highs and higher lows, then we can look for higher prices. And obviously, this is what we're looking for ultimately as a target of around 3K. So the guys in the group ended up trading this one. Well done on that. Profits locked in now. And obviously we were informing you guys on YouTube. This is where we're looking for first. And we can see here we're into a high volume node, looking on the volume profile. Around this 3K mark, and ETH really does like round numbers. And to be fair, crypto bros really do like round numbers. So we can see here why we're getting a bit of a stall. Okay. Now, where do we go from here? Okay. Well, first and foremost, let's look at upside. So if we do continue up even higher, I'm going to grab a fib from the absolute highs down to the absolute lows. Okay, this pivot to this pivot. We can see here we've got this golden pocket just above us. So we do have a bit of a sticky zone. Now, just above that golden pocket, we also have some liquidity. So this region for me, if we continue up, and again, I'm not going to crystal ball this and say we are continuing up. I'm saying if we continue up, this zone for me would be my next sticky zone. So my next area of interest. So if we do come up higher, and this consolidates and then continues pushing higher, then this zone here, I will be looking to see if we get some sort of rejection, whether we come up into the golden pocket and then start to reject, then we've potentially got a short trigger. Alternatively, if we don't see any weakness there and we come up and we take these highs and then start to reject, once again, I want to see weakness forming. I want to see market structure changing. Bear in mind, we're looking on a daily chart here, but we could even zoom out to the weekly chart. Okay, it's big zone is this. Weekly, monthly, makes no difference what high time frame you're looking on. This is a big zone. Is this going to come up and then instantly reverse in one candle? I mean, it could do. It's possible. But we're talking high time frame plays here. So I want to see that weakness. Okay. I'm not talking about I want to see weakness on a 5-minute chart. I want to see weakness developing. You're in no rush in these scenarios. Okay. And obviously, if you are long from lower and we do get up here, then there's a natural take profit region. Okay. Now, what happens if we do reject from where we are right now? Well, it's not the strongest of levels where we are right now, so it's not a major rejection point. But if we do reject from where we are right now and we start coming down lower, then ideally, to maintain this trend, I've got a fib from the low to the high. I'm going to flip it onto this. Ideally, what you don't want to do is you don't want to be coming back below these lows. Ideally, if you are going to see continuation of this, you want to be coming no lower than this golden pocket here for continuation, again making another higher low, looking for that higher high. Okay, now if you do start coming back below this golden pocket and specifically back below this 786, then that increases the chance of coming down to contest these lows. So if we do come down and this golden pocket offers nothing at all, and we start coming down, first and foremost, we've got the original range, which is from these highs here back in August 2022, which obviously was resistance, or deviation, resistance, resistance. Now, what we could be looking for is this a breakout, a back test, and then a continuation upwards. It's possible. It's not the strongest of ideas, don't get me wrong, but it's possible. And alternatively, we don't see any strength there, and we get acceptance back into this range, then ultimately, I'll be looking back down towards the EQ. Okay? So they're the only regions I'm interested in on a high time frame. Okay? If you are trading lower time frames, fair enough. Trade what you want to trade, but on a high time frame, they are the major levels. If we continue up, we've got a golden pocket followed by these highs here. If we start heading lower, then ideally we want the golden pocket to hold. If that doesn't hold, then we'll be targeting these lows. Very simple ideas. Okay, so that's ETH. And obviously, if you did catch that long, well played. Next, FETCH, or FET, FET, whatever you want to call it. Now, this is something we were talking about, right? I think it was around 3 weeks ago here. So we were first coming into this zone. So roughly the same sort of time we were talking about the ETH trade. Okay, we were saying if we are going to have continuation higher, then ideally we wanted this sticky zone here. And we can see here, this is the reason why we maxed it out. We had the high volume. Okay, well, some people will call this an order block, a supply zone, or a demand zone, or whatever term they use these days. But realistically, all we care about is where the volume is, because that's what's more important. You could have a demand or a supply zone in a situation like this with zero volume involved in it. And in that case, it's going to be a lot weaker. Okay, but we know that there was volume there. So if we are going to come down into this and react out of this level, again, it could have gone straight through. Even with volume being present, it could have gone straight through and gone lower. Okay, and we had options for coming lower. Don't forget, we had the golden pocket down here. And if that lost, then we'll be looking back down at the point of control. But scenario, the bullish scenario played out because we are still in a local uptrend. Okay, we are still making a series of higher highs and higher lows. We've not lost that structure yet. We've not lost any major structure. In fact, looking on the daily chart right now, as it is, realistically, we need to be coming back down below there before it even starts to lose any major structure. Okay, ended up getting the bounce, and obviously you got a 95% pump to the upside. So once again, if you caught that move on the back of that, then well played. You know, I hope you've paid yourself some profits. So where can we go next from here? Okay, so let's clear up some of this analysis and let's start looking. So first and foremost, where have we come up to? Have we cleared these highs? Slightly front run those. We have, I'm assuming, cleared those highs. All SFP, have we? No, still front run it. Okay, so we've still got liquidity above us. Okay, we've still got liquidity above us. So if we do come up, let's just throw that back on. Shouldn't have taken it off. If we do come back up, okay, we'll start to range here and then grab this liquidity and then get a structure shift, then we've potentially got a short trigger. Okay, potentially got a short trigger. If this doesn't happen, then there's no short triggers. Bear in mind, you are going against a very strong uptrend right now. Now, one thing that we need to point out with this is if it is going to turn around at any point, this is a very thin move up. Very thin move up. Talked about this many times on this channel. When you get a very thin move, if price starts reversing, it's likely going to go through that thin move just as fast as it went up in the first place. Okay, so if it does start to reject, then I'll be looking for this to go through very fast. Now, once again, we do the same concept as we did last time. I'm going to use this pivot here, and I'm going to drag that all the way along for the volume profile. If we do start to reject, then first and foremost, as we've just done, fib from the low to the high, we'll be looking at this region here. Now, it's not the strongest of regions, if I'm being honest, because of how thin this move up, but you can see just below this golden pocket, if we zoom in a little bit, we can see here we've got a little bit of cluster. We've had a few dailies side by side going sideways, okay, which is going to build up a little bit of volume, and we can see that in the volume profile. So if we do end up coming down here and then getting some sort of reaction in this zone, okay, this little consolidation here, then we've potentially got a long trigger. And if it is going to create another higher low, then we can start looking for a higher high, okay? So that's something to pay attention to. If that doesn't hold, then we're going to start looking at lower prices. And realistically, if this zone doesn't hold, I am going to be looking to come back down here and contest these lows. And if we do contest these lows, that could then trigger more of a cascade effect. Bear in mind, we know that there's going to be stop losses in this area. There's liquidity. Okay, so if we do end up coming lower, then the plan remains the same as what was on the video before. And I'd be looking to come back down realistically towards this point of control, okay, with potentially a sticky zone here in the 36 cents region. Okay, now that's the downside. What if we go up? What if we go up and we don't get a swing failure pattern here and we just continue? Well, if we do continue up and we reclaim this level, then realistically you then start looking at your overall highs. So if we reclaim this, then this will be where the market will typically trend to move, okay, up to these highs. Take out the overall liquidity. At that point here, we'll likely see some sort of stalling action, and then it's then question time, because we don't know whether it's then going to have a full-on breakout to brand new all-time highs, or we get a reversal, and then maybe another go at it then. Again, we're just keeping an eye on the overall trend. We're looking at structure. Is the trend still up? Yes, it is. Okay, we're still doing this. And until we stop doing this, we can look for higher prices. But does that mean I would be longing where we are right now? No. Because you're just chasing candles. If you're longing here, looking for all-time highs, then where's your risk to reward? Is, you know, you're looking at that, and then you're looking at that. Well, that seems pretty terrible as a risk to reward. It's not even a one-to-one. Okay, so we don't chase big pumps like this. Yes, if you're playing on lower time frame and you're zooming in and potentially you've got a little range to trade within this, then maybe, yeah, you can get that, and then you can get those tighter risk to rewards. But looking at it on the daily chart like this, it's not relevant. Okay, so that's that. Finally, INJ. Okay, I need to throw this chart back on logs. This is how we were looking at it in the first place. Now, we talked about this last time. Where we were in this consolidation. And we've still not lost this consolidation. Okay, so we are still trapped within a range within here. Okay, some people will call this a flag. Some people call this, no, whatever made up pattern people like to spot on the chart. I'm really not a pattern trader, and I'm really against pattern trading. However, you'll find that pattern traders do seem to do well in a bull market. Why is that? Because everything just moves up. Okay, it's easy mode. Okay, so first and foremost, if we start to lose this, if we lose this consolidation here, the next area that I'm going to be looking for to create a higher low potentially would be this consolidation here. So if we do have a move down, and ideally if it lines up with the channel and we start to see a bullish reaction here, then we can start looking for higher prices. Now, if we start to lose this channel and lose this consolidation here, then realistically, we're going to be looking back down towards this value area high region here, which will be around between $8 and $9. Okay, this is what I'd be targeting. If we lose this consolidation, start to lose that, once again, just keep it simple, looking back down at the point of control. Now, what happens if this breaks up? Okay, that's the next question. What happens if this breaks up? Bear in mind, we are in all-time high territory, unless there's an older chart than this that goes back, but I believe we are in all-time high territory. So if we continue up and we effectively break out of this without a swing failure pattern or a bit of a failed rally, then we can start looking at new highs. Okay, and then we are just maintaining this trend. Okay, just maintaining the trend, and you just trade the trend until it ends. Okay, so one thing, if you are going against the trend, you've got to be careful. You've got to be locking in profits early. If you're trading within the trend, you've got a little bit more flexibility, but bear in mind, we are quite extended right now. Don't get me wrong. That doesn't mean it can't continue up parabolic, because it can. It can. But trade with the trend, okay, until you start to see some major structure lost. And for me, realistically, this would be your telltale sign. And again, that's quite a distance down. Start breaking that structure, that's quite a distance down. It's a 53% drop, and it can still maintain that uptrend. Okay, that's it. Now, hopefully you've learned something today, and hopefully you've made some profit out of some of the charts that we've been showing over the last few weeks. If you have, hit that like button for me. If you're not subscribed, consider subscribing, and until next time, gang, as you were, bye bye.